This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 47, beginning at verse 1. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Verse 2. Take the millstone and grind meal, uncover thy locks, make bare the leg, uncover the thigh, pass over the rivers. Verse 3. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. I want to start off by giving all praises, all honor, and all glory to call Loyal, La Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rachakodas Rakatham. Double honors to both the apostles and to the elders of Great Millstone who do rule well. Peace and salutation to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth with faith and sincerity, as well as risking their lives and the freedom to do so. Now more so than ever, shalom to the Akim and the Akwat out there listening and learning. Lord willingly, this is an edifying video. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad, land of other nations, which appear like the other nations, but whom subscribe to this truth to you. I say shalom. It's your brother Yahweh Sop out of the GMS Cleveland Church, a fellow servant, coming at you with another lesson through the spirit and through the power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Basically, about to do a quick lesson on an article I seen on, I believe this is news break, but it's through the spirit, because like sometime this week, I can't remember what day it was. I was at work, and the elder Yashua Wamba from GMS Dallas, he did a video which was pretty much similar, and that's how you know that this place is falling. America's not America, aka Babylon, is no longer it doesn't hold its former glory. That's why I came out with this Isaiah 47. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. And this is the virgin daughter of Babylon because this place has never been penetrated. It's never been invaded. Let's just say. The crazy part is, but because a lot of these things are staged that we see, it talks about. There's a quote by Shakespeare. He said the whole world is a stage, and people are just players in it, with roughly paraphrased. But a lot of these things these events that we're seeing are staged. For instance, now 9/11. Although the tragedy wasn't, a stage tragedy, it was basically set up to enact certain things that's being utilized today. With that whole 9/11 thing, that's how you get why the government can spy on the citizens. Bush even made a statement about that. He said people won't realize at the time what he did, but he said years later people will go back to realize what he did. Because Bush brought in the Patriot Act. And when you really go back and watch how they that's how you say both of these parties is literally working hand in hand in tandem. That's why you see certain presidents, when you had the picture of the Clinton and Obama with both Bush Senior and Bush Junior. Because they, two sides to the same coin, because it's one system. You get what I'm saying? When you really follow the presidencies, each one of those men basically helped to bring forth a part of an agenda. Obama helped destroy the Constitution. Bush Jr. helped to, bring in the Patriot Act. So now, like I said, the citizens are looked at as, terrorists. Like I said, at one point in time, you could not just bug or go through. We had more rights and privacy, but now, because of 9/11, everybody's potential terrorists. Hell, I forgot exactly the terminology used, but they were saying how based on if you don't agree with this vaccine, if you don't want to lay with Vanessa, literally you looked at as a terrorist, a domestic terrorist, or something along the lines of that. Because basically it's all about compliance now. It brings the thought of that movie by yeah, that's the spirit, because these two guys that made this movie, I was gonna do a video on it. There's so many topics to do a video. I remember at one point in time, you had brothers. Well, they were, they were among us, but not of us. Yeah, it was a man in the cap that literally we used to use the excuse he couldn't come up with an idea for a topic. I be forgetting topics, you know what I mean? But anyway, that movie V for Vendetta, it just came popped in my mind because the guys that made that, the Wachowski brothers, they made the Matrix, and if you have been following them, of course, every brother, well, I can say every brother, but because most majority of the brothers in the truth watch some of the same stuff we all in the spiritual powers, you know, grew up watching read comic books and whatnot. But they both got sex changes. They went from both two brothers to turn into two men. I mean, two women. Yeah. Well, they're still men, but you know what I mean. But anyway, they made a movie called V for Vendetta, and if you ain't checked it out, you should go check it out. The guy that played in the Matrix, Mr. Smith, he plays in V for Vendetta. He, he does the voice. He might be the character though. I'm not. I can't remember, but I know he does the voice. Uh, so all said all that to say, it was a quote there. He said, "People shouldn't be afraid of their governments. The government should be uh, afraid of the people." And basically, if you go into Guy Fawkes was a person that tried to blow up Parliament, in Britain, you know. But I guess he was caught or snitched out like somebody, you know. Anyhow, but this place, Babylon, Salaki, I'm just running my mouth, but I didn't have many scriptures, what I mean? Got a couple scriptures, but I got an article. And, basically this place is being uncovered, the nakedness is being seen. This place is being exposed on a worldwide level, you know. So I will jump into this article a little bit. And like I said, Lord willing is edifying. It's not meant to be very long. It says, this is how the CNN workers in these five industries will be affected the most by Biden's vaccine mandate. Because when you take time to think about it, like the brother from Men of Valor, he was stating, I guess because they like that's how this place is dead. Like they try to put, but they actually want chaos. That's the whole thing. They want things to get so bad and outlandish that they have to bring the military in. Like you try to, change people. A lot of people don't like change, and you suddenly do a change, and then it's affecting people's lives and households and livelihood and whatnot. And eventually, people are going to get fed up, and when that happens, they're going to send the military. That's what they're banking on: order out of chaos. So it says New York, and this spirit because the brother out of Men of Valor, Bakura Balfour, that's the name of his channel anyway. I never really looked up what his name is. Literally, or that, what does that mean? But literally, he said that's taking place in New York. The price of goods in New York is expensive. He was like, there, New York is one of their cities that they're basically the test city to, basically they're without, your paperwork, you can't get into certain venues, yada, yada, yada. Call lawyer, blah, yeah, how about you? Shot for our elders. And that brother's a young brother, but that brother be in the spirit, you know. Call law, yeah, how about you? Shot for that brother because show you the testament to how strong the elders is. The elders are because they, you don't see them complaining and bitching and whatnot. They built for this, but they talk about how the price of goods is expensive in New York. The brother actually did a video because he tried to go. He had to cancel his membership to the gym because they was basically like, if you can't show proof, then you might as well cancel because you ain't gonna be able to utilize it. So, like I said, at the end, these little things we're giving up now, and rightfully so. And like I say again, the Lord is grooming us, to take you through that affliction because of the fact, you have a lot of people that are willing to give up stuff or go to compromise because they hoping to hold on to, certain things as they hoping that society go back or their life doesn't change too drastically. But this NWO has taken effect because this is all around the whole globe. So Salakia, let me bring some of this article out. It says New York CNN business employees in five industries will especially feel the effects of new vaccine mandates. Management, utilities, information, finance, insurance and administration, and waste management services. Now, why waste management? I have no idea. You know what I mean? That's a critical essential job. It's like how a lot of those nurses was Literally, like, it's funny, during the pandemic, we was considered essential workers. We didn't have to have this concoction, but now after the fact, we're no longer considered essential. It's like, and you just show you how simple people is, you know what I mean? Because you got people enforcing this shit. Like, I mean, like, it's spiritual. Like, more than 80% of the workforce for those, more than 80% for those five industries are employed by businesses with a staff of at least 100 employees. Oh, because, yeah, waste management especially. Uh, Management, utilities. Yeah, my little brother, Salaki, my little nephew works in utilities. More than 80% of the workforce for those five industries are employed by businesses with a staff of at least 100 employees, which means they'll be required to get a vaccine or a weekly test. And that test, like I say, when you constantly breaking the blood brain barrier, that's not good. You know what I mean? Uh, like I said, they got all this technology. Why do you have to actually stick that thing up your nose in the first place? I have no idea. That's according to 2018 data on the U.S. business. They got tested, and they got they could do a swab of your mouth and find out if you was in a scene. You know what I mean? Like, they got a database to just check. Like, they, but then they, to find out if you got this shit, they got to stick this thing up your nose. Like, yeah, everybody like, well, it wasn't really that bad. I'm looking like, the fuck. I mean, it was. I remember that was like sometime earlier this year, or maybe last year. They went to go do the test and stuck the thing up the person's nose and bust the brain barrier. That's according to 2018 data on U.S. businesses, the most recent data released by the Census Bureau in May. The rules that President Joe Biden announced last week would apply to more than 80 million working Americans, about 2/3 of the work, 2/3, and 2/3 gonna be destroyed. Oh Lord, make me think of Zechariah chapter 13, verse 8. 2/3, that's deep. 2/3 of the workforce. There are 43 million employees who work at companies that employ fewer. There are 43 million employees who work at companies that employ fewer than 100 people and who are not covered by that federal vaccine mandate. A majority of the employees in all but four industries will be included in the mandate, but in some sectors like construction and agriculture, where most businesses are small, only one in three employees will be included. Only about half of the jobs in the hospitality sector will be affected, in part because many fast food restaurants are independently managed as franchises. In four states and the District of Columbia, the mandate applies to at least 70% of employees. Tennessee is the state with the highest percentage of both employees and businesses included in the mandate. Nearly 30% of its businesses and 71% of all employees would be subject to the new vaccine requirements. Tennessee's Chamber of Commerce criticized the announcement, citing the nation's labor shortage. God, and that's why I said they want order out of chaos, because at the end of the day, brother, that's what it might have slipped my mind. But like I said, I know the brother made mention of, the brother from Men of Valor made mention of how the NY hospitals in New York wasn't allowing, like, they wasn't taking women that were pregnant because due to the fact they had a shortage of workers, nurses and whatnot. So you got key industries that the employees don't feel, or they don't want to take this thing. You know what I mean? And yet still, this is meant to. It's not meant to. In my opinion, speaking as a man, I don't think that this is meant to. I think this is meant for society to go chaotic for them to actually be able to step in. It's not a coincidence that, like I said, after 20 years of being in Afghanistan, they send the troops back home. And you're gonna have a lot of troops that's gonna be willing to fire and to police their own cities. You know, somebody just made mention of it. I think it's the brother from GMS Detroit. Uh, he was saying how basically, well, it was in the news how you had a lot of bus drivers that quit because they didn't want to get indoctrinated, and they want to deal with the concoction, so they basically had the National Guard driving the buses. So now basically government has control over your kid. I'm in Ohio. I remember back when This might have been like last year. They did it right at the beginning of the pandemic. They was talking about how get ready to like how you might send your kids off to school and you might not get them back because they might end up in a internment camp. So you pack them an overnight bag. Yeah, I went to go find the article because I was gonna do another video about it. Because I mean, you got this whole CDC Operation Shielding approach or the shielding approach, basically to people say that it's ridiculous or it's a conspiracy theory. A theory is something that can be proven, but it's paperwork on this. CDC on their own website says basically they got a plan to those that are considered high risk with this CV literally to be isolated from those that actually took the indoctrination. And then just so I'll show you how spiritual this truly is, somebody just did a video, one of the brothers, about how out of their own about Fauci and their data is showing that natural immunities. Oh, the brother from Men of Valor is one of their heads. I talked a while. He's out of their own data is showing that natural immunities to this. It's like you build up natural immunities to certain disease. That's why the Most High, that's how cold the Most High is. You know what I mean? And but they rather you take this concoction. What for? Because it serves a different purpose. A recent Goldman Sachs analysis warns of a short-term risk as some employees are expected to quit rather than agree to the new requirements. However, it said that the Biden administration's option for regular testing instead of the vaccine will likely mitigate some of the turnover. The analysis also predicts vaccine refusing employees should be able to find new jobs among small companies not included in the vaccine requirements for a moment, but then eventually that's going to trickle down to the smaller companies. You got to remember, during this whole pandemic, they regulated the time and hours of operation of bars and restaurants, and then they basically popped up like with the Gestapo or something. They had their own little had agency that will pop up and check to make sure everybody was 6 feet distant and wear they masks and all that. And if you wasn't, you was fine. So eventually, these mandates, although they're not hitting these companies, our jobs down, that's still more grace and mercy from Yahweh Shemi Al Shah. Eventually, it's going to trickle down to these smaller companies, and that's when they're going to comply because of the fact that literally, everybody try to stay afloat and make money. Companies in the healthcare and retail sectors will see the most employees covered by the new mandate, around 26 million between the two. Healthcare workers represent the largest group affected by the new rules in both Tennessee and Arizona, a state with the second highest percentage of its workers affected by the new rules after Tennessee. Of the 80 million employees covered under the vaccine mandate, roughly 38 million workers in sectors where predominantly people facing roles: healthcare, retail, hospitality, education, and arts and entertainment will eventually be vaccinated or routinely tested. The requirements are forecast to have a positive effect on the economy over the medium term. Of course, but how would it have a positive effect? Like I said, like again, a lot of people don't like change. It's not coincidence that literally, like when you start a class, for instance, when you was in high school or middle school, high school, college, when you first had that first day of class and you sat in that seat, it's not coincidence that you stayed in that seat. Very rare. Rare is the person that I'm over here, I'm over there. No, human beings are creatures of habits. You know what I mean? Like, that's why, I mean, that change, that change is, like, put it like this. Like, say, like, so a lot of people is not going to be with this, you know what I mean? Especially, it ain't even about choice. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I've never seen something where people were so literally, like, in the spirit, just like, because it's spiritual. I don't think it's the actual chip, and the elders and apostles say that they don't think it's the actual chip. And I agree with them, you know what I mean? Through the spirit, I think it's the precursor. They're setting you up. Because that's why the elder Apostle Torah always says that. He said, if you take this, you're going to take that. Because they breaking your will now. It's kind of like with a female with a guy keep on trying to get at a woman. And, at first, and he constantly, you know, He beat her down. Eventually, they keep on asking her. Eventually, you know, and that's what this is. They gonna make things so difficult, constantly. Come on, you get tested every week, and all it takes, you gotta remember, it's actual documentation and articles. I remember when this thing first started. You had all these faulty tests, just like with with the vaccine in Japan. They was talking about there was a black substance in it. What was that about? You know what I mean? They had faulty tests. Talking about tests that was coming out positive already that never even been used. Yet still though, all it take you got to take this, and you can't get no negative results. So what I mean, doing that every week, eventually that's meant to break you. You know. So it says the requirements are forecast to have a positive effect on the economy over the medium term, according to Goldman Sachs. Higher vaccination rates will reduce the spread of the virus and encourage some employees who are afraid for their safety to return to work, allowing some struggling industries to rebound. Well, what the full of shit, show you how full of shit he is. You gonna have to return to work because they cut all the government. Government will take care of everybody through food stamps and these stimulus checks, and now all that's cut because they got you accustomed to something that they took it away. And I know people that was literally working or usually working, but they just anticipate and can't wait for another stimulus. Like I say, so that's why scripture so much talks about not to worship Mammon. You know what I mean? That's why scripture talks about so much to literally be content with your daily bread. Ain't nothing wrong with having some things, but you know what? You shouldn't want to be wealthy here because this is the place, a wicked ass place. I mean, it tells you in the book of First John about First John chapter 5 about how the whole world lies for wickedness. You know what I mean? Everything here tainted. Everything. I got children here. I love my children. You know what I mean? Catching this hell and this affliction, and this one of the few. They're one of the few things that can make me smile. The brotherhood and my children. But my children tainted. You know what I mean? I told my demon. I said, she said up there thing. I say, well, our kids are cursed. And the elder apostle Rachai was just going into that. You know what I mean? Like your kids are a blessing on the side, but it's also like someone like a curse over here on this side to have children because you can't enjoy it fully. So Salakia for the digression. Uh, I got probably like two more scriptures. Salakia. It's the book of Jeremiah 49, verse 7. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 49, verse 7, concerning Edom. Edom, it tells you in the book of Genesis that Esau is Edom. You know what I mean? The red Hebrew Edomite. And when you go into Esau, it's referred to Edom. That Edom is the nation of Edomites or Esau. The nation of these so-called white people. Because they're on rulership, and if you can't understand that or you don't believe that, something wrong with you. You know what I mean? So the Lord's not really dealing with you. These people are the people that literally, their presence is felt throughout the world. You know what I mean? Like these people have the most embassies. They have embassies in other countries. The most, in fact, which are nothing but garrisons. It's nothing new under the sun. It says, remember, I always remember this. Like lithium. Lithium is what's used to make batteries. It's lithium deposits of Afghanistan and over in the Middle East. Remember how expensive batteries used to be? I just came from Dollar Tree, got some batteries for I got some batteries. Long story short, now you get batteries for $1. Remember when batteries was like $4, $5? You know what I mean? Like batteries used to be very expensive. That was what a lot of people didn't used to buy. So they went over there. Not just because poppy seeds is not the only, resource over there. You know what I mean? And that's what that's what took place back in the ancient days. These different nations would jockey for land and to possess land, and that's what they doing today. It's nothing new under the sun.
Concerning Edom, thus saith the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahweh of hosts, is wisdom no more in Tebet, is counsel perished from the prudent, is their wisdom vanished. And God, that goes back to that's a precept to that Isaiah 47. Said the dust. This place is over with. You know what I mean? These people being exposed, is wisdom no more in Tebet. You know what I mean? Tebet was like considered the wisest tribe of these Edomites, because when you go into the Edomites, just like how Jacob, which became uh, Israel, uh, had sons, and it was different, basically tribes that came out of, Israel. The same thing came out of Esau, because he had sons. And then you had different tribes come out of that. Tebet was considered like the elders go into it, break it down, and basically Tebet will consider the Germans. And when you go into the Germans, like they were the most wisest of the tribes. When you go to the Germans and their technology, that's why when literally when you go to Operation Paperclip and with the Nazis and how the Russian Edomites basically gave sanctuary to some of the German scientists, because at that time they were considered some of the wisest men on the planet, and America basically gave sanctuary to some of the Russian, Slovakia, the German scientists. That's the spirit, because I just recently was incarcerated. They had a book in there. I can't, the Spirit of Destiny, something like that. And it was this Jake in there that I was talking to. And I gave him the information to go find out the truth, and I told him about some of the truth. I don't know if the Lord led him to the truth, but the thing is, he had some wisdom, but he was all over the place. He had spirits on him. He talk about this, he talk about all these different things, and I'm like, it's only one truth. It's, at the end of the day, though, but he was going into the Germans, and you know what I mean, and the Spirit of Destiny, and yada yada yada. But Salaki for the digression. So, yeah, this place is being exposed on a high level. You know what I mean? So, no, wisdom is no more achievement. I will end the lesson on this scripture here in the book of Isaiah, chapter 19. Starting at verse. I'm going to get to the point. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 19, verse 14. The Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua hath mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and they have caused Egypt to err in every work thereof, as a drunken man staggereth in his vomit, because of the philosophies of this place. This place to tell you that it's rooted and is founded in on the scriptures, on the Bible. But if it's truly founded on it, you gotta remember America's not that old. You gotta remember these people came over here because of the fact, supposedly, well, actually they didn't come over here for that. They came over here to actually do what they're doing today. Which is try to break in this NWO. But, they came under the premise of, oh yeah, searching for religious freedom, to worship the way they want to worship. But if they was truly, this place is truly founded on the principles of the scriptures, then why are we seeing homosexuality? Why are we seeing a woman lifted up over a man? Because all these things that they uphold here are actually frowned upon, and the scriptures go against. So, that perverse spirit, like that spirit of homosexuality, that's a perverse spirit. That spirit of a woman over a man, that's a perverse spirit, because that fucks up the household. I was just at the laundromat yesterday, and it was two lesbian chicks, and it was a little boy, and I felt so sorry for that little boy, because he doesn't know no better, But at the same time, he confused in the motherfucker. He just kicking it, but your mom and your dad is a him fucking girl. And then I was thinking about it, I was just showing you how selfish a bitch is, because these women are selfish. Women can be caring and loving and nurturing, yeah, but they can be selfish as well. They eating and telling a little boy to sit down, but they smacking in his face. They ain't offering him none of that shit. Hate this place. Verse 15. Neither shall there be any work for Egypt which the head or the tail, branch or rush may do. And that's the point, because eventually, without showing that paperwork, showing proof that you could get it, I mean that you are allowed to, because basically they weed out who gonna be a problem to they rulership. If you not willing to comply, then yeah, you need to be dealt with. So it talks about in scripture about how you're gonna be persecuted for righteousness' sake. Yeah. So prepare for that. Prepare that soul for temptation. So if you're so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, civil, Indian, West Indian, or Haitian, I implore you to come back to the laws, to the statutes and commandments of Yahweh, Bashim, Yahweh shall be destroyed. With that, I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory to God, Loyam, like Yahweh, Bashim, Yahweh Shai, Bashim, Rachagados Bakatab, double honors to the apostles and to the elders of Great Millstone who do rule well. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and the freedom to do so. Shalom to the Aqua, to the Yakim out there, lesson learning. Lord, willingly this was edified. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations, but subscribing to the truth. To you, I say Shalom. Till next time, Lord, willingly, Shalom, Shalom. Shalom.